Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Karen. Today we are looking at part C of the rules of the road. So, Matt, you have been in Taiwan for quite some time now. So what do you think is the biggest difference, like when you're on the road, when you're in Taiwan versus when you're in Canada?
Well, I think the rules of driving in both Taiwan and Canada are almost the same rules. But people follow them a little bit differently, meaning people drive differently in Taiwan than they do in Canada. So when I first moved here, one thing that I noticed was that like when a light changes from green to red, there's still a few more cars that pass through, at least when I first moved here. There would still be a few more cars pass through after it had already turned red.
Okay.
So that if it's a four-way intersection, though, the drivers that had the green light would always actually wait to make sure there were no cars coming before they go. And this is a big difference from Canada because I feel like when you're driving in Canada, you know that you assume that everyone will have stopped for the red light, so when you have the green light, you know you can go, and everyone goes right away when the light turns green.
Exactly, and then you rarely see people running a red light, right? And I have to say that when I first moved back, walking on the street as a pedestrian, I was really, really scared. And this was like 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was really, really scary for me to cross the street because I didn't feel like the pedestrians had the right of way. So I always had to wait for all the cars to pass first, and then I would go.
Right, and though I think even then that probably the rule was that pedestrians had the right of way, but people still didn't drive that way.
But now I think things have really started to change. So now I feel much safer as a pedestrian walking on the street in Taiwan.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, we're going to learn more about the rules of the road when we get into part C after this.
Portia and Morgan move on to the road test.
When I took the road test, it was in a controlled environment.
I bet that was a piece of cake. You didn't have to worry about the state of the road.
Hello, today we're looking at part C of the rules of the road, and we have two characters, Portia and Morgan. They have been studying and reviewing for Morgan's driving test. So now, Portia and Morgan move on to the road test.
Ooh, how exciting. And now Portia says, when I took the road test, it was in a controlled environment. Okay, so she's talking about her own experience when she took the driving exam. It was in a controlled environment. So controlled, right here, that's an adjective. It just means that it's arranged in a way where it's not dangerous. And you don't have cars, driving, suddenly popping out at you. So basically you have a course where you can just drive through different parts. So there are no outside cars that are involved when you're taking the exam. So for example, you can say, instead of arguing, they talked in a calm, controlled manner.
So when they say it's on a controlled course, it means that there won't be any outside interference that was not expected. So everything that you get on your test will be what the driving examiner expected you to come up against.
Exactly.
Morgan says, I bet that was a piece of cake. You didn't have to worry about the state of the road.
I bet that was a piece of cake. I bet, what does that mean?
Well, to bet means to wager money or to put money down to say that you think a certain outcome will happen. And you're saying you could lose this money if that outcome doesn't happen, or you could gain more money if it does. Now, we also use this term, bet, when you say, I bet something, just to show that you are certain of something. So, meaning you would be willing to put your money up against the certainty or the correctness of something. So, when he says, I bet that was a piece of cake, he's saying, I'm sure or I'm certain that was a piece of cake.
That's right. And when you say a piece of cake, you're not talking about a piece of birthday cake that you're going to eat. It's an expression that we use in English to describe something that is very, very simple and very, very easy to accomplish. So if you think an exam was very, very easy, then you can say, this exam was a piece of cake. That means it's very, very simple.
Right, and so the reason Morgan thinks that that was a piece of cake is because he says Portia didn't have to worry about the state of the roads. So the state of something is the current condition it is in. So whether it is smooth would be one state. Whether it's bumpy would be a state. Something can be in a bad state, meaning it's not being well maintained or not being repaired. So you don't have to worry about the state of the road. He means that there could be problems on the road or with the road that she wouldn't have had to worry about because she took her exam in the controlled course.
Exactly. But I think in Taiwan, that was probably like around 5 years ago when people took their driving exams in a course, right? But nowadays, if you were to go for a road test, you would actually have to drive on the real road.
That's right. So it's not as controlled as it used to be, and now you do need to worry about the state of the roads.
And sometimes the state of the road can be a little crazy.
Yes. All right, well, we're going to learn more about the preparation that they're doing for this road test after the break.
You're right. I didn't have to deal with potholes or possible roadblocks and traffic jams.
That doesn't seem very fair.
Perhaps, but I still face speed bumps and parking on the side of the road.
So, how far could you be away from the sidewalk?
The car had to be 6 inches away at most.
Wow, that's close.
Welcome back. Before the break, Portia and Morgan were talking about the road test. So Portia mentioned that she had done her test in a controlled environment. And Morgan said, I bet that was a piece of cake, so he thought it was very easy because she didn't have to deal with the state of the road. She didn't have to deal with the condition of the road or what things were happening around her.
That's right. And now Portia says, you're right. I didn't have to deal with potholes or possible roadblocks and traffic jams. And these are the different types of things that could just happen, right? And you have to learn how to deal with it on the spot.
And Morgan says that doesn't seem very fair.
Because Morgan thinks that his test is going to be harder, right?
Right, but I do think it's a lot better for people to have their test on the actual road so that they've actually experienced driving with other cars or scooters around them.
And yeah, like you mentioned, I actually know quite a few friends who took the driving exam a long time ago, but not on the actual road. And then they're so scared to drive and they didn't end up driving at all.
Okay. That's not good.
Okay, so Portia mentioned like you might experience some, potholes or roadblocks or traffic jam. So what's a pothole? A pothole That's basically a hole in a road surface that results from, gradual damage caused by traffic or weather. So it could be just like a hole in the ground. For example, you could say drivers complain about potholes frequently.
Okay, so Portia mentioned that she didn't have to worry about some of the possible conditions she might face on the road. So possible means that something can or is able to exist or happen. So if something is possible, it means it might happen. So for example, the news said that there is a possible rainstorm this afternoon. There might be a rainstorm.
There's a chance of it happening, right? And also she talked about the traffic jam. And jam, that is a noun. A jam can be a dense bunch of stuck people or things. For example, like a traffic jam. For example, you can say there's always a traffic jam during rush hour. That just means that, during the peak hours when people are going to work, going to school, there's always a lot of cars. And you get stuck on the road and it's very, very slow. And no one wants to be stuck in a traffic jam, right? And now Portia says, perhaps, but I still faced speed bumps and parking on the side of the road. Okay. Speed bumps, what are those?
Well, a speed bump is a bump that has been made on purpose on the road, which is to stop people from going too fast or from driving at a high speed. So these bumps will slow people down because they can really make your car shake and even can damage your car if you go too fast over them.
Exactly. You would often see these speed bumps maybe like in front of the hospital or in front of the school when the drivers they really need to be careful and drive slowly, right?
Right, so Morgan says, so how far could you be away from the sidewalk? So he's meaning how far could you park away from the sidewalk?
And now Portia says the car had to be 6 inches away at most. 6 inches away. How far is that?
Well, an inch is a unit of measurement that's used in the imperial system of measurement, which is often used in the United States mostly. So an inch is 1/12 of a foot, or it's 2.54 centimeters. So 1 inch is about that long. So as she says she had to park 6 inches away from the curb, that's not very far at all. It's very close and it'd be difficult to park that close.
That's right.
And that's why Morgan says, wow, that's close.
Okay, so it's definitely not easy when you have to park so close, right? And you really have to have great driving skill. And I don't think I have that anymore. I haven't been driving in such a long time. But I have to say, I really do miss driving. It's the freedom.
The freedom of going wherever you want to go.
Whenever you want to.
All right, well, maybe, you've reviewed a little bit from going through this lesson. So you've, reviewed some of the skills and things you need to know. And maybe for some of you out there, this has helped you prepare for your own driving test. But we hope you learned something, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Portia and Morgan move on to the road test.
When I took the road test, it was in a controlled environment.
I bet that was a piece of cake. You didn't have to worry about the state of the road.
You're right. I didn't have to deal with potholes or possible roadblocks and traffic jams.
That doesn't seem very fair.
Perhaps, but I still face speed bumps and parking on the side of the road.
So, how far could you be away from the sidewalk?
The car had to be 6 inches away at most.
Wow, that's close.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 state 名词，情况、情形。The state of the house is quite messy. 房子的状态相当凌乱。下一个单字 possible 形容词，可能的。Winning the game is still possible if we work together. 只要我们合作，赢得比赛仍然是可能的。下一个单字 jam 名词，交通堵塞。We were late because of the traffic jam. 我们因为交通堵塞而迟到了。最后一个单字 inch 名词，英寸，寸。The snow was 5 inches deep here. 这里的积雪有5英寸深。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 piece of cake 轻而易举之事，这是一个口语用法，整个片语是名词，横用单数。我们来看看这个例句。Giving a speech in public is a piece of cake for Nelson. 对 Nelson 来说，在公开场合演讲是轻而易举的。下一个文法 at most 最多不超过。我们来看看这个例句。I'll be there in 20 minutes at most. 我最多20分钟就会到那里。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Here's how to play. The host will be holding 3 cards. Each card will have 2 sentences containing a secret vocabulary word or phrase that has been replaced by the word bear. The host will read the sentences out loud for the contestants to guess. Whoever guesses first gets a point. The person with the most points wins. And you can play along too.
Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn.
I'm Winnie.
And I'm Matt.
All right, are you both ready to play?
I'm so ready.
Ready.
All right, let's get started. Our first one is a noun and it's one word. Most houses in Taiwan do not have an bear. Betty heated up the bear to get ready for baking.
Oven.
Yes, it's oven.
I came to play.
He's got one. Okay, I'll read the sentences. Most houses in Taiwan do not have an oven. Betty heated up the oven to get ready for baking. Okay,
The
still have a
AN
chance,
really
Matt.
helped.
I wanted to make that very clear.
Yeah.
Pronounce that. Okay. The second one is also a noun and it's one word. Henry turned on the bear to light the stove. Our water heater is powered by bear.
Gas.
Yes. Ooh. Wow.
I'm sick of him always winning, so I came to play.
I've already lost.
Okay, I'll read the sentences. Henry turned on the gas to light the stove. Our water heater is powered by gas.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, even though you can't win, if you get this one, I'll be very proud of you. It's a phrase and it's 3 words. I bear a cup of coffee every morning. Many people these days bear their phones.
Are addicted to. Crave.
Can't live without.
Yes! Yay, Matt!
I'm proud of you for that
one. Okay, I'll read the sentences. I can't live without a cup of coffee every morning. That's true. Many people these days can't live without their phones.
Good job, Matt. I have to admit, we can share this. You win too.
Yes, but Winnie is our winner, but